What's up, guys? So, welcome back to my channel. So, thanks for tuning in to this channel. So, real quick, today I'm gonna go ahead and conduct an anti-malware scans on our client computers within our SCCM console. So, this is pretty much very important, to conduct anti-malware scans on your client computers, every day and weekly as well. So pretty much what we're going to do is it is very important if you conduct a quick scan on your computers every day, and also if you can conduct a full scan weekly on your client computers. And this is very important because if we do have hundreds of computers within our organization, it's very important that we do this. So let's get into it. So I do have my endpoint configuration manager here, and we can do this if we go to assets and compliance, and then we see endpoint protection. What we got to do is to just expand that, and then we see anti-malware policies. Now we can create a policy. There's already a policy. You can try to edit it, or we can create a new policy, and these policies we can try to set up when it has to run or when we want it to run. Is it gonna run every day, or when do we want it to run? And so let's create one real quick. So anti-malware policy 101, and description, you can pretty much put anything you want here, and you can decide if you want it to be a scheduled scans, and you can decide if you want do the scan settings. Yeah, pretty much, you just want to click all this, and then once you finish, we're gonna go in here and set it up. So schedule scans. Now if you're on an organizational setting or on an enterprise setting, what we want to do is to make sure we scan our client computers once a day, and this is actually a quick scan. So run a schedule scan on client computers, yes. Scan type. Now what we want to do is to make sure we set up a quick scan, which is going to scan our client computers every day. So we leave it as quick scan, and scan day, you can do it daily. Now this is the most important part. Now you don't want to let your scan interrupt your employees working activities or whatsoever, so you just have to make sure you know what time you set it up to. So I'm just probably gonna leave it at, let's say, 7 a.m. and then run a daily quick scan on client computers. I'll say yes. Daily quick scan schedule time, I'll say 7 a.m. and check for the latest security intelligence updates before running the scan. You can pretty much decide to turn it on or not, but let's say no. Start a scheduled scan only when the computer is idle, and this also has to be considered because you don't want the computer to start scanning when employees are busily working on it, because what happens is their computer is going to probably run slow when the scan starts. So I'll say yes. Now it says force a scan of the selected scan type if client computer is offline. Probably yes, because we still need to scan the computer. And limit CPU usage during, you can set it as 50%, whatever percentage you feel like it's going to be good for your enterprise or your company organization. You set it up that way. And when you're done with that, we can go into our scan settings. Now scan email and attachments. If you do select this, It's probably the scan probably will take some time before it finishes because it's gonna scan emails and attach every attachments on the computer. Again, it depends on your organizational setting. You can decide to say yes or no. I'm probably leave it I know. Now scan removable storage devices such as USB drives. Well, if your organization do allow USB, you can decide to say yes and scan it as well. Scan network files. Depending on your organization, you can say yes or no. Scan map network drives when running. It's already no. Scan archived files. Yes. Allow users to configure CPU usage. Definitely no. User control of schedule scans. No control. Users don't have to be able to control your schedule scans. Now let's go to default actions. Now here we want to specify if there are any threats found or any anti-malware is found. We want to specify what happens to it and specify default actions. If the threat is severe, are we gonna quarantine it? Are we gonna remove it, or do we recommend it? Now the default says quarantine, so we're gonna go quarantine. If the severity is high, what do we do with it? Do we quarantine it, or do we remove it right away, or do we recommend it? So um, based on the severity, you decide if you want to quarantine these threats or anti-malware that's been found on the computers. You decide if you want to remove it, you decide if you want to allow it, or you want to quarantine them. So I'll probably say quarantine as well. And then real-time protection. So enable real-time protection, which is yes. Monitor files and programs activities on your computer, yes. Scan system files, definitely scan system files. So we want to scan incoming and outgoing files. Then again, it depends on the kind of scan you're performing. You can decide to scan only outgoing files or only incoming files. You can decide to scan both as well. So let's do both. Now scan all downloaded files and enable exploit. Protection of internet, yes. Internet Explorer. Enable behavior monitoring, yes. Enable protection against network-based exploits, yes. Allow users on client computers to configure real-time protection, which is definitely no. And configure detection for potential unwanted applications, enable. Now we go to exclusion settings. Do we want to exclude files or folders or whatever it is? Now we set it up. If we want to exclude any folders or files, we can add them here and specify what we want to exclude. But here we don't want to exclude anything because there could be any those files that we want to exclude could be affected as well. So we don't want to set any exclusions. Now advanced, create a system restore point before computers are cleaned. Now definitely no, but it depends on the way you want to set it up. You can decide to create a system point. Disable the client user interface, no. Show notification messages on the client, no. Because you don't want the client to know what's going on whilst the scan is taking place. Because sometimes, they get clients or employees get scared when they see stuff like that. You don't want to scare them. You just want to make sure that the scan does its own thing. Delete quarantine files after 30 days. Depends on the way you want to set it up. Allow users to configure the setting for quarantine file deletion, no. Allow users to exclude files and folders, no. Allow users, so pretty much all this should be no. Just talking about giving the end user permissions to do some settings on the scan, which is definitely no. Threats overrides, do we want to specify if there are any threats found, do we want to override it? No, you can specify it here. Cloud protection, if your organization, has a cloud protection in place, you also, a basic membership, you configure it here. Now, security intelligence updates. Check for endpoint protection security intelligence at specific interval, 8 hours. Check for endpoint protection security intelligence daily at, we change the time to 7 a.m. Force a security intelligence update, definitely no. Set up sources and endpoint. Order for endpoint protection security intelligence updates. Now we can select the sources here and determine the number of sources we want to work with. If configuration manager is used as a source for security intelligence updates, client will only update from alternative sources if security intelligence is older than house. So based on your organizational setting, you can decide to set change the numbers here as well. So now once we finish everything up, we can decide to click OK, and now we do have our anti-malware policy 101 ready for deployment. Now let's click on it, right click on it, go to properties, and just make sure that we've everything is set up rightly, and then we can deploy policy. Now for this one, it's actually talking about rights and privileges. I'll say okay, now I'll just cancel it, and then I can click on, well, let's check this out. Yeah, right click on it, and I can deploy it to my computers or the clients. Now what I want to do is I want to deploy this to all systems, all computers found within our network. I want to deploy this to, and then I click on OK. So once I click on OK, you see the deployment will take place. But I don't want to deploy this because I don't really need it. This is a lab network, so this is just a training on how to set up an anti-malware policy that can run scans, quick scans every day within your network. Now, suppose we want to run a full scan. Now, you don't want to run a full scan on your client computers every day. You definitely don't want to do that. So what you want to do is to at least run the full scan once a week. So in the scheduled scan settings, you can decide to run the full scan, and then we select the particular day you want to run the full scan, because you don't want to run the full scan every day within your network. It will definitely slow work down. So you change it here, and you pretty much change when it has to stop, when you want it to stop, and everything. So yeah, that's about it. Creating an anti-malware policy, which is gonna scan all your computers within your environment. So if you have any questions or anything, just try to leave in the comments and I'll respond to it. Thank you for watching this video, and I will be back with more videos. Peace.